Hello Darts Nutz, welcome to Darts Review channel. In this video I'm checking out a set from Trinidad Darts, and these are the Pro Series Hugo steel tip, and that's used by a player called Hugo Lung. I think that's how you say it. So let's check them out. So the steel tip version are only available in one weight, 23 gram, the 90% tungsten, soft tip in 21.5 gram, and the price is approximately £65. So as you can see, it comes in the usual Trinidad cardboard packaging, got a slightly holographic highlights on there, but they always have a sticker on the side of the play, and they always give you all the details, even the length of the barrel and the thickness. So it's always nice to see when they put info like that. Inside you've got a dense foam inlay, and it comes fitted with the Trinidad look to be in between polycarbonate stems and the Trinidad standard flights, and you've got the big chunky Trinidad rubber point holder. It's rather neat. So that's what you get in the pack. So the dart's fitted with a silver point, and it's kind of a front tapered straight barrel style. You've got this like nice taper with a very fine ring and groove grip, which has got some very fine lateral cuts running through it. So it's not super grippy, but there's a little bit of grippiness where the lateral cuts are, so didn't feel too bad that there. It's obviously, as you can see, it's got a fairly square nose, so I'd say fairly big lip there on the nose, but you could overcome that with a special cone or point if you wanted. And this section around here is just a mix of ring and groove, so you're not getting a huge amount of grip on that part, maybe just off the silvery grooves more than the red part, but almost feels like it's a good reference point, that. But then as you get onto the ray, it's a little bit hard for me to tell with my astigmatism, but I'm almost certain there's a very subtle taper, but I'll know when I get the calipers on it. But at first glance it looks like the grip is pretty much the same, but it isn't. This one is like a thin ring and groove, and again it's got the lateral cuts, so a little bit more grippy than that front one. But then the rest of the barrel is a very fine kind of micro shark grip, so there's a little bit more grip again on there, but I'd probably just maybe above medium. So it's kind of like a subtle grip for most of the grippy sections, but it's rather nicely done and very neatly machined. You probably see it better in the super close up just now, but obviously as you can see it's got the black tie coating on, and there's some nice contrast between the silvery tungsten sections and the red grooves there. So there you go, and they're fitted with the in between Trinidad two-tone polycarbonate stems and the Trinidad standard flights. So you've got this fairly long tapered nose, and it's made of a very fine ring and groove grip, but some lateral cuts running through it, so that just adds a little bit of grippiness. And then you've got the two wide grooves either side of the smooth band there with the Trinidad logo, DSS for somebody maybe. And then you've got, I wouldn't say they're actually rings, more like two shallow grooves in the barrel, and painted kind of like a reddy colour, although it looks pink through my camera here. Actually it probably is pink, but depends on the light, I think. And then on the ray part, it kind of mirrors the same grip on the nose, but slightly wider rings and wider grooves. And then for the rest of the barrel, it's a very fine kind of like a micro shark style grip, again with the lateral cuts, and that runs right to the end of the barrel. So there's the super close look at the Trinidad Hugo darts. The dart's fit with a silver point, 26mm, but it's got the front scuffed, so it shouldn't slip out of the board. You've got a fairly wide lip on this one, 3.8mm, and then you've got that longish taper, 12mm, made of the fine micro ring grip with very fine lateral cuts, and then you've got a fairly flat section with the grooves and rings, 14.5mm, another ring grip with lateral cuts, 8.5mm, then the micro shark grip on the end, 18mm to the end of the barrel. Length is 53mm, wide is 6.5mm. 23.14 grams, 23.12 grams, and 23.09 grams. Full setup, 24.64 grams. Here's the balance with nothing attached, and this is the balance with the supplied setup. The mini shark grip section on the rear is probably the grippiest, maybe just about 6. Right, let's give them a throw and see how they go. I'll do one dart at each double as usual. At first I'll try it right on the taper, see what that likes, and then I'll move it up onto the parallel section. Actually didn't fly too bad there. I wasn't expecting it to fly all that great, because like I often say, I'm not always onto liking tapers, but it's not especially long or too thin, that one, so it didn't go too bad. So I'm just going to try that smooth ring grip section now. So I think this is probably, yeah, I'm just trying to see there. I think it's all the same width before it gets to just past the centre, but obviously there's not much grip on that part. Seems a nicer spot for the balance though. Gone a little bit smoother through the air as well. There you got a double. I'll have another try from that spot. I think I would prefer a little bit more grip on it, like, but it's not too bad. I think the coating's adding a little bit. Got another double. So I think balance on that bit was rather nice, so I'm just going to move up just past that. So I'm still on a thin ring and groove section, and then just beyond that it goes into like a mini shark grip. So try that part first. That was a bit painful. Don't think the balance feels quite as nice there, but maybe it's just because it's not in my normal position. I'll give it another try. Yeah, I think I did better on the other spot. So I'm moving on to the mini shark grip now, so I'm fully on the rear grip. Hey, that was a good shot. It's actually flying smoother from that position than it was the other one, the previous. Making a funny noise when I pull it out. Don't know why. And it's got a nice balance if you like a front weighted style and you're a rear gripper. Notice the arc was going a little bit more pronounced there. I'll give it one more try. Just have a go at the trebles. That spun off quite a bit, that one. Oh, nearly. But yeah, might be a nice one if you're a rear gripper if you like that style. Didn't think it was too bad there from the front, and that section there seemed to be the nicest spot for the balance, but not as much grip on that. So quite an interesting dart actually. One that may be okay for some slightly front towards mid gripper, and maybe one that's going to work well for some rear grippers. So if it takes your fancy, then, and that's what you are, then it might be worth a try. I like the fact that they've got the grip right towards the end as well. But the best spot, like I said, for the balance, less grip on there, so it kind of spoiled it for me a little bit in that regard. But there you go, that's the Trinidad Hugo darts. So I'll see you on the next one. Happy darting.